Police in Athens have used tear gas on demonstrators protesting the visit of US President Barack Obama. The outgoing leaders bidding to reassure Europe of Washington's commitment to its vital NATO ally.
We are deeply grateful for our alliance with the Greek people. I think that we have inspired each other to reach for independence, stood in solidarity during war and peace. In good times and in bad, including these very difficult years for the Greek people. And tonight I want you to know that as you work to move your country forward, you will always have the support and friendship of the United States. We have an extraordinary Greek-American community that is very excited about this visit.
And since the US presidential election, pundits have been struggling to explain Donald Trump's shock win. A prominent Slovenian philosopher, Slavoi Zizek, is one of them. He believes the result exposes the failure of the liberal elite. My colleague Daniel Hawkins asked Mr. Zizek to explain why he believes that Trump's victory might help to revamp America's political system.
The Democrats were, in this election, the pure party of the establishment of the ruling consensus. So, disgusted as I am with Donald Trump, I hope that precisely the shock of electing him will maybe trigger some restructuring of the entire political space where new options will maybe emerge, like an authentic leftist movement around Bernie Sanders and others.
Do you think Bernie Sanders could have shaken up US political system as much as Trump, or perhaps had he been the Democratic candidate,
Absolutely.
we may even have a different
Absolutely.
president?
And I go even further. Hillary's defeat was, at least in one of his aspects, the price she paid for getting rid of Bernie Sanders. Her coalition was absurd. Her coalition was Wall Street and Occupy Wall Street, Saudi Arabian money and LGBT and all those sexual liberation movements. It was a fake ideological formation. It was brutal global capitalism with a human face.
In the run-up to the election, most mainstream media, as well as most mainstream polls, were predicting overwhelmingly a Hillary Clinton victory. Why did they fail to see this coming?
The Democratic strategist totally misread why and in what way people identify with Trump. Most of us who were observing the electoral process remember how often left liberal media claimed, now we caught Donald Trump with his pants down in an open embarrassment when he said something improper or made a mistake, and they thought, now this is his end, he committed suicide. No, not only he didn't, this even helped him, because ordinary people didn't identify with an ideal Trump. They perceived him as one of us precisely through his vulgarities, mistakes, and so on and so on. That's how political identification works. That's a big lesson.
The liberal Americans, who are very angry about the election of Trump, they're calling for his impeachment. They're blaming what they call uneducated people for electing him. Is that really where the blame lies? People just not being educated enough to make the right decision?
That's the horror. No, the true loser is the liberal elite, which simply lost contact with anxieties and so on of the ordinary people. And liberal elites, I suspect them of this smug self-satisfaction. They even like to lose so that they can then, with a moralistic self-satisfaction, blame the others. You see, primitive, ordinary people, why are they primitive? They were not always primitive. They fall into these primitive passions because the alternative, what they, the elite, was offering them no longer works. So, again, begin with self-criticism.
And with Donald Trump being a political newcomer, Americans are paying very close attention to his first appointment as a sign of things to come. And here's how the lineup is looking so far.
Experienced when it comes to running companies, not so much when it comes to countries. So the people Trump's rapidly assembling around him provide the first glimpse of just what Team USA will look like under Team Trump. His running mate and now Vice President-elect is, of course, Mike Pence. Unlike Trump, he's a weathered politician. With 6 terms of Congress under his belt, he knows how things work on Capitol Hill. Here's how Pence describes himself.
I'm a Christian, a conservative, and a Republican, in that order.
Trump's supposed top choice to head his foreign office is Rudy Giuliani. Giuliani was at the helm of New York when the Twin Towers came crashing down. And such was his handling and response, he was lovingly nicknamed America's Mayor. Time magazine went even further, naming him Person of the Year in 2001. Despite a total lack of foreign policy experience, he's already hinted at his priorities.
We must not be afraid to define our enemy. It is Islamic extremist terrorism.
Moving on, Republican Party Chairman Reince Priebus is expected to become the Chief of Staff. He's Trump's man within the party and actually good friends with House of Representatives Speaker Paul Ryan. He's also Trump's confidant.
Reince is really a star, and he is the hardest working guy. My guy.
And now finally to Trump's most sensational appointment. Steve Bannon could become his senior counselor. Who's Steve Bannon, you ask? Well, he was Trump's campaign head, and before that, the executive chairman of Breitbart News. That's a right-wing news site that also prides itself as a platform for the alternative right movement. That makes Bannon anti-Washington, anti-establishment, and actually not even a fan of Trump's very own party.
We don't really believe there is a functional conservative party in this country. We certainly don't think the Republican Party is that.
So, does the team forming around him show when it comes to his plans for running the country, Donald has come up trumps?
I think if people understand President Trump, he likes taking opinions from a lot of different people. He's not a person that just listens to one person and does whatever that one person says.
Trump advisor and former CIA Director James Woolsey has sat down with RT's Worlds Apart to discuss the prospects for Trump's presidency. He also spoke about potential cabinet appointments. In fact, Woolsey himself is tipped as a potential addition to the team.
Well, I don't know that it will be the establishment as establishment. I think it will probably be individuals who would normally be regarded as part of the establishment, but who are willing to work for him, with him, and to make some changes in American policies. Health care is one that's due for very substantial changes. And we'll just have to see. But I think he will be able to recruit people to help him, and I think they'll be able people.